And I think he's basically right. It does have a reputation for exceptionally good graduate programs, but a number of schools that have that emphasis on graduate work tend to slight undergraduate. This was a difference at Princeton, which had actually did very, very great emphasis on undergraduate education. I had some of the most famous philosophers in the world who were my professors in undergraduate courses in ancient philosophy. For example, Gregory Vlastos, and in philosophy of science, Carl G. Hempel, and we had a course on Hegel, Nietzsche, and existentialism taught by Walter Kaufmann. These wouldn't be names familiar to you, but to anyone in philosophy, actually, there was a great difference. He would have loved Princeton, and I understand why he might have been disaffected by Johns Hopkins. So where did he earn his degree when he got out?
He went to the University of Pittsburgh because we were living in Pennsylvania at that time, and he was a resident of Pennsylvania, and so he could sort of swing the cost of college. But even so, I was just shocked by the amount of debt that he had acquired, at the time of his death.
That's right.
I mean, he was an adult. He was 29 years old when he died. I wasn't completely involved in every little aspect of his life, although
sure.
he did live on our farm, in a house on our farm, and he was always working a couple of jobs, trying to pay off the debt and so forth and keep things under control.
You lived in Pennsylvania at the time and had a farm.
Well, we had a rural place then. Now we live on a farm. I don't want to be too specific about where we live right now, but
sure.
We live in the southeastern United States.
That's fine.
And Loren lived here.
Well, Pitt's actually a pretty good school. They have an outstanding program in the history and philosophy of science. In fact, after his retirement from Princeton, Carl G. Hempel, for whom I wrote my undergraduate thesis, became a faculty member at Pitt. And indeed, the very well-known philosopher of science for whom I wrote my dissertation at Indiana also went to Pitt subsequently, Wesley Salmon. So Pitt actually is quite a good school in a number of areas, and I would think in biological sciences it would be very, very good indeed. He liked Pitt.
He was satisfied, I think, with it, and he graduated magna cum laude, so he did okay despite the fact that he was working the whole time, and he was in the reserves also, so he met whatever responsibilities he had to in the reserves at that time. So he was doing the best he could.
Well, I'm feeling
along like a lot of kids do,
I'm feeling an affinity. I also graduated magna cum laude. That's very nice. Oh, cool. He obviously was quite a good student and scholar.
Right. He was a nerd. He was a sweet nerd. He wasn't a cute, cuddly kid and so forth, but he was a very decent, honorable.
Well, he was obviously highly intellectual and self-disciplined. I mean, and the fact that he succeeded in his military service is very, very interesting and important in my opinion. Now,
he had a goal, and he was working for whatever his goals were, and unfortunately, there were elements in the reserve units and so forth that had other plans for him, and that really is the complicated part of the story, which I don't even know that I could possibly explain to you. But if you want to know the punchline of the story, here it was a month after 9/11, and my son was killed in a shootout with New Jersey policemen after a massive manhunt.
Donna, this verges on the bizarre. I think what we want to do is to take a short break here, and then we'll return, and you can fill us in on the story of how your son came to die in what seems like a very, very odd event. This is Jim Fetzer, your host on The Real Deal, with my special guest, Loren Janeczko, and we're talking about non-combat deaths, in this case, the case of her son. We'll be right back. Had only about a month of reactivated duty before he was in this bizarre shootout on October 12th of 2001.
That's right.
Where was he?
And I also want to say this. Whatever I say about this, I sometimes I won't give names, and I will try not to get over detailed in it. But I've come to understand this story after 8 years of intensive work to get documents and to get investigation material. I still don't have all the investigation material. I'm dealing not only with the Army, but also with the New Jersey State Police and their whole complex of Attorney General directed. They have, I can't think of the word, divisions, I think is the right word, underneath the Attorney General, and it's very complex to work with them. And then the FBI also did some investigation into my son's death, because it started out on a military installation, and I'm still going round and round with them, trying to get them to, for instance, give me the name of the New Jersey State Police person who demanded all the forensics in the case, and then almost immediately lost, hid, or destroyed them. And the FBI doesn't want to give me that name because of privacy concerns. And yet I'm saying to the FBI, you were involved in this investigation. Aren't you even curious about why the forensics in the case have all been lost?
Well, let me just read the paragraph that describes this. On October 12, 2001, one short month after putting his life on hold, actually getting back into the military, Sergeant Janeczko was killed in a, quote, shootout with the New Jersey State Police. According to media reports, he was supposed to have, quote, flipped out and started shooting people, wounding 2 fellow soldiers on the Fort Dix Army base, fleeing in a vehicle, and then wounding 2 New Jersey police officers, taking a hostage before he was shot and killed by police. This is a very strange story, Donna. Tell us what you think.
Well, very strange, because, you have to wait a year before the investigation was completed to get any of the investigation materials. And the first 2 very truncated investigation reports I got, one was from the FBI, one was from the Army CID, and guess what? There was no hostage.
Yeah, it claims there was a hostage who managed to get away with his gun jammed.
Oh, yeah, it was a very detailed story, but there was no hostage.
What gun was it? What kind of a weapon was he allegedly using? Was this a pistol, a .45?
He was allegedly using a gun that he took away from another soldier at Fort Dix. And I believe, I've also had an education in ballistics, so I believe it was a 9mm Beretta.
A 9mm Beretta that was, okay. And
however, let me just say, the ballistics are included in the forensics that are missing. So I'm beginning to wonder whether Loren even was doing any shooting at all, despite the detailed descriptions.
Well, the very idea that somebody demands to have all the ballistics, all the forensics, and I don't know why he was entitled to even have them, but that they then disappear is, that's such an obvious cover-up. There's no question of there's nothing.
The FBI is involved, and they don't know. That's pretty strange too. But the thing was, when I got I finally got crime scene pictures and so forth.
Yes.
Loren had a white object at his hand as he lay dead on the parking lot, and I put 2 and 2 together because they sent me, actually they broke the chain of evidence and sent me evidence boxes from the New Jersey State Police. I'd never asked for them, but I think it may have been deliberate to break the chain of custody. And in there were very strange objects, and one of the strange objects in there that I couldn't make any sense of was a new adult-sized disposable diaper. Well, that was the object that was near his hand on the parking lot. I speculate that it's possible that he was waving a white flag.
Yes.
Trying to get somebody to listen to him.
Yes.
And instead, someone shot him dead, and then made up this story. If it was a justified police shooting, why would anybody have to make up such a richly detailed story of a hostage and a gun jamming and the hostage getting away?
Well,
but it has been definitively stated by the FBI and by the Army CID that there was no hostage whatsoever.